GM, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday, September 20th. I want to do a quick video on markets. Just giving y'all the lay of the land on things that have happened in Bitcoin, things that I'm keeping an eye on headed into the weekend and next week. So a couple of things that we have been watching, especially the past few weeks, is just the long side of BTC, on this local trend up. Um, you know, Generally for the last several weeks, one thing I told y'all is I'm not in the business of fading Bitcoin, meaning shorting Bitcoin, especially once it creates like these kinds of higher lows and just starts, drifting up, right? Well, once it starts drifting up, you should always be cautious, of how high it can go, right? Even back here, I still remember, longing Bitcoin right here and then closing up here, right? I had no idea it would go all the way to 65K, but the reality is when it comes to BTC, kind of, putting in these capitulation style lows and it starts reclaiming levels like this Q2 low or like a, VWAP monthly or a VWAP yearly. These are key levels to be watching. And once they start reclaiming those, or you want to bang into that and sell into it as resistance, meaning selling your long into that as resistance, that's totally fine. But I would not be a person who would say, hey, guys, it looks like, over here, we're breaking back inside the VWAP yearly, so let's short. Like that is not the kind of business that you want to be in when BTC has put in this kind of low or this kind of, higher low structure, and then it starts drifting up. Why? Because simply, the bidding power of what Bitcoin can accomplish when it starts drifting up is much stronger to the upside and can drift higher and longer to the upside than most people can fathom. And it can go to levels where you are generally not expecting it to go as high. So the reality is when it starts drifting like that, you do not want to short it. What you ideally want to do is wait for the most maximum amount of pain at the, key levels of like a daily, weekly, or monthly structure. And then you could consider, again, shorting or simply just not opening longs, right? Again, this is not financial advice, but that's generally what works for me because some things that have worked for me, for example, is, once you recognize like over here, this was actually the peak of the sort of Trump, mania where he kept talking about Bitcoin incessantly over and over. And once it started to break this level right here, right, um, this little curved structure that was going on. And once it started to break this, I remember shorting this, but then I started closing, somewhere around here, right? I had no idea price would go all the way down here. So the reality is, again, you want to be able to short at extremes and long at extremes, or especially even if you're wrong, in terms of timing your long position, Bitcoin will reward, more people more often on the long side than it does the short side. Okay. Simply because it often, gives people many opportunities to jump into the long side, very, very structurally reclaiming key levels and then drifting upward. Right. So that is something that you could generally expect with BTC. At current moment, what we see in BTC is, again, this very gradual drift upwards, reclaiming the 3-day open from 2 days back, reclaiming the VWAP weekly from earlier this week, reclaiming the VWAP monthly from the September month way back here in September 11th, right? So the reality is, all things look pretty good for BTC. Okay, so what you should expect here on BTC is, let's clear up the chart a little bit. All right, and I'm going to show you guys in a very clean manner things that I'm looking at for Bitcoin on a daily basis. Okay, so on a daily basis, this is probably the area that is most highly trafficked for the last like 6 months or so, right? If you look at this level right here, you will see, okay, let me show you guys real quick. Okay, multiple times this area has held as support, support, resistance, 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 reclaims as support, tries to reclaim and hold it as support, breaks down, resistance right there. Again, gets back above this support, 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 breaks down, comes back, tries to get into it as resistance, fails, breaks down, gets right into that level as resistance. And now, once again, we are coming back very, very close to that level as resistance, right? So the argument here is that this zone, this pocket right here that you're seeing, okay, across the board, which is approximately, let's just say 64,000 up to about 65 and a half, this area is highly concentrated as a pivot point for market structure, meaning anything, above this, you could probably expect a reaction up to 70, maybe even higher. Anything that rejects here, anytime price comes into and breaks it, boom, right there, boom, right there, boom. Okay, over here, again, sell off, right? So every time price fails to reclaim the structure, you should expect some sort of decent sell off, right? And so I think the same is going to be expected this time around. And so what we're looking at right now is the next few days to be reactionary to show us what does price do. Does it create another lower high? Because look, this is a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, maybe lower high again. And do we sell off further, right? Because aside from those lower highs, we also have a downtrending structure, which is a low, lower low, lower low. This is the only higher low that we've had right here, this one right here. But the only way to validate this higher low structure, to sort of change market structure, meaning when you've gone from lower highs and lower lows, you have to be able to change it to, this is your previous high right here, right? So if this is your previous high, you have to be able to break above that. And then you could say, oh, maybe we've established a new structure, which is this kind of, uptrending structure, right? Which is low, higher low, high, higher high. Okay, but we have not done that yet. So again, it goes back to my original point, which is this zone right here, this pocket, the most highly concentrated area where price pivots up and down from here. Okay, that is the area for us to be watching. And over the next few days, I think we will get more clarity on it. So keep in mind the 64K to 65 and a half area, which is a pocket that you may want to consider either for shorting, okay, or closing your longs into. Again, not financial advice, just letting you know, like that is ideally what you could start paying attention to, right? Just in terms of structure, or you simply wait for the market to show you that, hey, we've reached a critical point where this zone is very, very pivotal in deciding what the next, 1 to 2 weeks look like. So either you wait for price to do this and start, but once it starts doing something like this, it's game on, right? You probably want to long into this consolidation because the breakout is going to be imminent. Okay. But if it starts doing something like this, like it does that, and then this, and then this, and it starts looking like toppy, probably, you want to start considering closing longs or, maybe getting short in the market. Again, not investment advice. That's how I would consider it. All right. Near-term price action, you could kind of see on a 5-minute time frame, there's just going to be a whole lot of chop. I expect this entire shit show to be very sort of continuously, gradually, choppy all the way into Saturday and Sunday. So just be careful, right? Now, alts have also made pretty substantial moves. Let's just say an alt like Solana, which is a very mega cap alt, right? Tagged almost up to 152 and a half. Okay, that's a pretty substantial move considering that it broke above very key levels, which is the quarterly open. It broke above the, let me turn this off real quick. It broke above the yearly VWAP, which is this one right here, this level right here. It broke above the monthly pivot. So all in all, it broke above, extremely sort of key levels. And one could argue that, oh, sitting above these key levels is bullish, right? Fair. But like I said, I think BTC is the big dog that you generally want to be paying attention to. What does BTC do at this critical juncture that we spoke about, that 64 to 65K pocket? And I would probably figure and make the argument that alts, especially the ones that have been showing strength as of late, like let's just say Solana, for example, because it squeezed up, 4, 5, 6% today. Watch how it reacts into the weekend. Watch how SUI, which has been the strongest alt over the last several weeks, watch how that reacts into the weekend. Does it start breaking back down? Does it continue to drift up higher? Same thing with Tau, right? Tau has been continuously drifting upward. Tau, I would actually argue that, in fact, has broken, all right, this little downtrend and starting to squeeze back up. Again, on the off chance that you get a pullback like this and then it starts doing something like that, maybe this is your chance for a pullback to buy in and ride this puppy up, much, much higher, right? Again, that's up to you how you want to decide how high will Tau go. Do you like Tau as an AI play, SUI as an L1 play, et cetera, right? Same thing with things like DGen. I have a position in DGen, by the way. So yeah, things like this, this is sort of discretionary for you to decide, like, what do you want to do with these kinds of moves in the market, and which alts do you want to buy into? Because if we're beginning the uptrend in the bull market, you're not going to get very many, strong pullbacks, right? Pullbacks are going to be shallow, especially on good quality alts. So make sure you keep your eyes open, and slam that bid, right? Again, that's up for you to decide if you think you're in a bull market or if you want to buy or not. But that's how I would consider it. Okay, now moving over to base chain, right? We do see some quality alts, especially meme coins and stuff, sort of finding their footing here and there. Like for example, again, DGen is a base meme coin / L3 chain, moved up a decent amount. Currently sitting at 75 million or so, but not too bad. Roaring Kitty, again, my meme coin, holding a pretty nice floor around 120, 130K. We're going to continue working hard in Roaring Kitty, by the way, guys. You guys see me grinding in this community, doing my best, whatever I can to reward people in the community, to let people know that, we're going to continue, giving people the opportunity to make USDC or earn tokens. I also did a community update several days back. I also just did one recently, actually. Let me see where it is. There it is. That's my September 19th update too. So I often do these like 2 to 4 minute updates just for community to see. One, I'm not giving up. Two, I'm active and showing people that I'm here to stay. I'm here grinding. I keep an eye on the broader market to give people, an understanding of where I think, markets are going in general and how that's going to impact Roaring Kitty. I also, more often than not, I pay attention to base Dune data, right? So for example, if we look at base chain statistics, right? So let's do base Dune data. Okay. This is probably a better one. You could kind of see, like, over the last several months, base was definitely drifting down, in my opinion, for the amount of activity, the users, the volume, etc. But I do think that it's starting to pick back up, right? Let me see here. Okay. I forgot what chart I was to see. All this is cumulative. I wish we could see just like week over week, day over day data. But you can kind of see, point is, like, let's just say active users, for example, right? This is a pretty good metric. We see active users in base definitely relatively close to new all-time highs, right? This is a 1.6 million active users. shave off some bots here and there. And I still think that base chain is net gaining more users. Same thing with, ETH volume. Again, a very important metric because that's where the real money comes from. In general, that's drifting upward, right? Daily transactions, this is another important metric. Take away, the cumulative transactions. Okay, so let's take that away. All right. And you see, daily transactions also drifting upward, right? So this is all in all showing us that, yes, we are on the right chain for Roaring Kitty. And we want to continue grinding on base chain because this is where the opportunity sits, especially from a risk reward perspective, just because there's not that many users from crypto that have fully like penetrated base chain yet. And once they do, this thing will just skyrocket, right? Daily new users skyrocket, daily transactions skyrocket, active users skyrocket, ETH volume skyrocket. And that, once again, rising tide lifts all boats, right? So as base chain gains more users, volume, money, ETH, etc., we should be drifting upward, okay? Because rising tide, again, lifts all boats. People will find a reason to bid things like Roaring Kitty because they will ultimately find out, who we are, what we do, how active we are, all the things that we've accomplished over the last several months, whether it's all the meme contests that we host to all the incredible things that we've done in terms of the community, staying active on Twitter, all the spaces that we are interacting with, all the different communities we're interacting with. And of course, being associated with, again, the Roaring Kitty brand itself, right? I think that is probably the most important thing. And then, of course, I think our website is pretty incredible. Like, if you kind of look at the memes and stuff, we got some solid memes, guys. Like, the past several months, one thing I'm super happy about is, if anything, we have one of the best meme collections, period, right? From Star Wars to Matrix to, killing the bear market to the Olympics, to bull market gains, to dodging bear market red candles, to the moon, soccer, anime. We had an anime theme, we had a Dragon Ball Z theme. There was just like so many exciting themes that we had in the meme collection that we've created thus far. And this is not even close to 10% of the memes that we have. You guys know that very well, right? We had the Godzilla theme, we had the Gladiator theme. So we made people make all these memes over the past several months, and we gave them a ton of rewards for that. And I think that is in fact reflected in the price. What's not reflected in the price, once again, is how much base is going to grow, how much attention Roaring Kitty is going to gain over the next several months as price starts to appreciate, whether the Roaring Kitty narrative itself starts to pick up or base chain itself starts to pick up. And again, like I said, the market itself, in my opinion, is becoming, more bullish by the day, is becoming, better for the average person to recognize, like, oh, we're possibly transitioning into a full bull, market. And I think that's going to get people super excited. Which again, I'm also excited, for that, right? For that moment. So let's keep grinding as a community, Roaring Kitty community, the crypto community, the base chain community, and let's see where this thing goes. Other things that I just want to talk about real quick that I'm excited about, BitTensor, which is Tau, and Sui. These are two leading, out of the gate assets that have been extremely, quick to get marked up, meaning once you have such strong movements, right? That means like the market showing you that, into the bull market, these are probably going to be the outperformers over the next, several months, right? 2025, I think, is going to be extremely bullish year. Something that I've posted about over and over is, this thing right here, this structure, okay? I still do think that we may get to 40K, but I'm not going to hold my breath because ultimately this is our goal. Right? This is where we're going. 100, 200, 300K in BTC equals a significant amount of users, significant amount of transactions, volume, money coming into base chain. Same thing goes for Sui and things like Tau, things like Solana, of course. These things are going to inevitably benefit, right? And of course, we as the end users and the token holders and the people who are in the trenches, we're going to ultimately benefit also. So these are things I'm excited about. Hopefully you guys are too. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys find this information helpful. Let's see where things go, right? I'll be watching the stock market, of course, over the next few days, see how things pan out. Until then, good luck, everybody. Take care. Cheers and talk soon.